Hey everybody, it's Don and Dan with The Clinical Trials Guru. Again, that website is www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. I was reading an article in the Fierce Biotech, which is a industry news email kind of newsletter thing that I received. One of the things they talked about is participation in cancer trials and how fewer people are participating. They gave a number out of the amount of participants that they need, looking at a scale from 1 to 100, they're getting about 1%. And you have to ask yourself why. Now, they asked that question, and they had explored that a little bit with some of the universities, some of the different clinicians out there that they're working with, and they brought up some good points. One of the things that the clinicians brought forward was that, number one, a lot of doctors out there in the private sector, the reason they're a little reluctant to refer people is because they're worried about losing income. And especially with the day where doctors have got to work probably 5 times, see 5 times the amount of patients they had to see 20, 30 years ago, that becomes a little troublesome for them and definitely a concern. The other thing they looked at too is that people are just not aware, or the patients aren't aware of research. And that's all is some excellent points and good concerns. But one of the things I still find in the industry is that a lot of times we still focus on getting to the doctors to get the patients. And we forget another component in this whole thing. The other component is, what about family members? What about the loved ones of those who have the illness, whether it's cancer, schizophrenia, depression, or whatever it may be, HIV? There are loved ones sometimes that are involved in this, especially when you're dealing with issues like cancer. There's families involved. We need to sometimes get out to those families and start talking to those families, because even if the doctor recommends it and says it's good, does that doctor have time to talk to that family member? And is that doctor talking to the family member? If not, you got that family component there that can block that person from seeking that treatment because they're completely unaware of research, the fact that they're unaware of what it's about and what's involved. They may be skeptical, maybe fearful of getting involved. So we have to find a way to get out to the families and get out to the communities and get them to understand the need for research and to need to have more participation in research in order to develop these studies.
Don brings up a good point about the families and the doctors, of course. I think this falls on the research clinics that are recruiting or supposed to be recruiting for these trials. And a lot of these cancer studies are done at big academic institutions. They're kind of stiff. They don't really like to get out in the community. They kind of expect people to be sent their way. It's kind of like the laid-back attitude they have. It's not everyone, but there are some exceptions. What I see is everyone in this space, in the cancer, specifically cancer clinical trials, they should be doing a better job of recruiting. And I think that, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I think a lot of these people who are in charge of recruiting are doing too much quarterbacking, and there's not enough wide receivers.
Yeah.
All right? Everyone's trying to throw the ball. Everyone's trying to be Tom Brady. We need an OchoCinco, right? We need people catching. That means receiving messages, listening to your environment. Oftentimes, if you're a recruit and you go out to an oncologist who's not doing clinical trials, instead of throwing him your pitches, you've got to receive what he's telling you. And then you could probably find some kind of way to make things work out. But like I said, everyone's just doing too much pitching, too much quarterbacking, and not enough wide receiving.
All right, well, that's our commentary on that issue. This is Don and Dan signing off from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you.